We are still basking in the glow of UCLA's victory over Penn State last weekend, and here to help us relive it is the man in charge, the interim head coach Tim Skipper. Good enough to join us on the Bruin Insider Show, Nick Koop with Wayne Cook. Coach, I know you guys are deep in prep. You've turned the page to Michigan State by now, and we will get into the Spartans, but appreciate you indulging Wayne, myself, and Bruin fans for looking back a little bit. I have to imagine once things calmed down a little bit on Saturday, your phone must have been blown up with text messages, phone calls, voicemails. I'm wondering, what was the first phone call you made after that game?
It was my dad. Yeah, so it was my dad, my brother, and my mom. It went in that order because my mom didn't pick up. But it was in that order. So, yeah, started with family, and then I worked to everybody else. And it was, awesome conversations. It was great. Helped to drive home. I was talking as I was driving. Before I knew it, I was home. And then I continued to have more conversations. And then I cut it off at a certain time and was like, let me just lay here and enjoy this for a little while. So it was a great night. Great night.
Such an amazing environment, Coach. And again, I'll go with the football speak, though, because for me, being with the players on the field, seeing the players in the locker room, the players that I got to talk to along with yourself after the game, for me, as a person that's gone through losing streaks, as a person that's had to weather the storm of how hard it is, I truly believe that when you start believing between the ears, it's not just speak anymore. Like, they got to see that they could go out against a top 10 team and perform at a really high level. That game was not fluky. Yeah. That game was very much about execution, and our athletes did a great job against their athletes. So to have that belief now going into this week has to be really helpful going forward.
Oh, man, it's everything. Belief is everything. You spend time trying to get the guys to believe in you, and then when you start feeling like they believe in you, now we need something good to happen so that it can be permanent belief. You know what I mean? So that's basically what happened. We were hoping for that in the Northwestern game. Kind of blame myself for how we started that game. I think that really affected us. So changed some things up. Got the guys to believe in the change-ups that we did, and it worked like a charm, man. We came out firing. We stayed aggressive throughout the game. Key word was strain all week. We had to strain because we knew it was going to be a four-quarter and possibly overtime type game, and we finished. The last play, all the way up to the last play, we had to strain to finish it. And, man, it's just great to see, and it was great to see joy on everybody's faces. We haven't seen that joy, and, man, joy is a great word, and we had it, and it was awesome.
It was so fun after the game, and you're talking about belief, and I think confidence kind of goes in that, and the confidence that you and your staff have shown this team, even going back to the Northwestern game with the fake punt, but the onside kick, going for it on fourth down when you're inside your own 35-yard line. Now, I know you scout all those things, and they're calculated risks, but this is a team, you're new in this role, and you've shown the confidence that they can execute those risks. How thrilled are you to see the team rewards you for that confidence?
Oh, man, it's awesome. And, I get my confidence from practice. So when it looks good at practice, I know I can call stuff. But if it doesn't, I throw it out. So it is definitely calculated. Like the onside kick, we watched them on their kickoff return for 2 years. And anytime guys kind of had the motion guys, that guy on the kickoff return team would chase them. So we felt good it was going to be there. Now you have to feel good that the team's going to hit that ball and we're going to recover it. So when it all happened, man, that was the greatest feeling ever. Our whole sideline erupted because we only been practicing it last week. We practiced it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We did it on Friday. And Friday practice, it was probably the best it looked. So it was game ready, and it was just awesome to see. Everybody knew we were going to do it. As soon as we said if we scored the first touchdown, it was up, and that's how it worked out. And sure enough, we did it, and it worked perfectly. It was awesome, awesome.
Coach, it feels like the defense isn't getting talked about enough, and I want to give you a chance because I've noticed a huge uptick in tackling, execution, aggressiveness, people doing what they're supposed to do on the defensive front, whether you want to call that gap integrity or whatever the heck you want to, whatever words you're going to use to talk about people doing their jobs. It hasn't been perfect, but it's been a lot better, and I think Kevin Coyle has not been talked about enough. We get excited about offense. We get excited about you've been great, Coach, but he's someone that's kind of slid in to this D coordinator role, and it feels like he's doing an amazing job.
Oh, man. Awesome job. Awesome job. the main thing he's doing, first off, is letting me be a head coach because I don't have to worry about the defense. I'm in all the meetings and stuff, but I don't have to stay up at night thinking about how we're going to defend all this stuff. So that is where it starts. And then just our fundamentals have changed dramatically. I mean, everything. Just how we line up, how we get in our stance. It starts with the stance, and the stances have changed across the board at every single position. And then how we're gap sound, how we're using our weapons, our eyes, feet, and hands. Like, everything has completely changed. Our energy level, the amount of times we have 11 guys at the ball, man, it's crazy. If you just watch how many UCLA Bruins are at the ball when we're on defense compared to what it was, it is big-time change there. So, and then if you start getting into stats like this Penn State game, they had 92 yards at halftime. 92 yards. They had 28 rushing and 64 passing. They only had 7 points on the board. Like, huge effort. Like, huge effort. And then we kept them below their average at the end of the game and stuff. They really only scored 28 points for the game. We had the block, punt, and we took a safety. So 28 points in that atmosphere to that offense, I mean, it's amazing. You know, all the love I have for Coach Kevin Coyle. He coached me, so I've been on both sides of it. I've been getting yelled at to learn it, and then I've been able to teach it with him. So it's been awesome, man. I'm just glad he's here. It's a dramatic change for us, and it's been awesome.
So many guys had their best games of the season on Saturday, and it's a whole team effort. One guy that has stood out to me, though, is Roderick Pleasant. He had the blocked field goal last week at Northwestern, but it seems like in a short amount of time, he's turned into a lockdown corner for you guys. He forced a fumble. He was there to recover the fumble that Key punched out. What have you seen from him over these last couple of weeks?
Yeah, you're watching his confidence soar in these last 2 weeks. I mean, you're just watching it. You're seeing it in person. He's making the plays that you need to be made. You know, he's doing the little things. He's punching balls out. He's recovering balls. He's getting past breakups. He's very, very fast. Like, that joker can run, flat out run, like Olympic speed. And he's realizing how to use it now. Like, it's a real weapon for him, and it's making him play a lot faster. And when you can run like that, you just always happen to be in the right place at the right time.
Coach, we talked last week on this very show about getting the running backs more opportunities, and we chuckled about it a little bit. You're like, yeah, we had a meeting. You told me, we had a meeting about that this morning. And it was a concerted effort.
Yeah.
And I swear to you, Nico was great. Coach Jerry called a great game. So many people, the receivers were great. But I truly believe this with all my heart that you're never going to be as good as you want to be on offense unless you have that. And with this running game against that defense, I thought was absolutely crucial to what the offense did.
Yeah, they're one of the top front sevens in the country. Not just our conference, the country. So I want to tip my hat to the O-line. The O-line did their thing. They put hats on hats, and they stayed glued to the guys they were blocking. And the tight ends included in that. And then when the ball hit the perimeter, receivers were blocking very well. And obviously our running backs were getting downhill. It was definitely an effort to let the guys have a series. Let them go as long as they can go, then get the next guy in there. That was definitely something we wanted to do in the game, and it worked great. I mean, and you got to add Nico into the rushing attack, too. Yep. He's part of it. So they have to defend a lot of different things. I think we kind of confused them with some of the stuff we were doing, but I really, really, really want to tip my hat to the O-line. The big boys were eating. They get to eat first at the meals. They get extra plates. They get whatever they want, as I know they love food.
Well, you're pushing 300 yards of rushing against a front like Penn State. You know they did a great job. You bring up Nico, and I'll let Wayne maybe talk about some of the particulars on the field of what he's shown. But I'm curious to get your thoughts on his leadership. And he spoke after the game. He said he had a talk with the guys and said, hey, if you don't want to be here, leave. You don't need to be here. And everybody stayed. Nobody left. What have you seen out of his leadership?
Yeah, that side of Nico I don't think enough people know about or talk about is he's very vocal. He's not afraid to talk. And what I like, he talks when it's good and when it's bad. Like, it's doesn't matter. He's going to say what's on his mind. And he's not afraid to tell you what you really need to hear. And when he made that comment about if you don't want to be here, you can leave, that was right after a practice. And he didn't like the way some of the periods we were running, how they went. So he made that comment, and they paid attention, and it was better the next day. So he has that type of mentality, that type of person. And the other thing about him, when we did our voting for captains, he had the most votes. So guys respect him. They follow his lead. He's earned all that, and I'm just happy that he's on our team, and I get to watch him keep on getting better and better and better.
Coach, I mean, I could talk all day about what Nico's looked like to me, and it's not always stats that I look at. I hear everything. He's always been a class act. He always answers every question. He doesn't make excuses. He doesn't let all the noise that he's had to deal with bother him. At least he acts like it doesn't.
Yeah.
And he plays so tough. Like, even when the team was struggling and losing, man, he's not afraid to get hit. He's not afraid to do his thing. I mean, he was beat up like a warrior at the end of that last game, and he was one of the best players, in the country. And I know he's received some awards for that, but I just think he's going to keep plugging forward. But I will ask you about this, because Jerry Neuheisel takes over the play calling duties. And one of the things I've always thought about is players, there's a lot of coordinators that have play sheets with all kinds of plays on them. But when you call those plays matters a lot.
Yep.
And how you call those plays matter a lot. And for this group, to this offensive group, and including yourself, Coach, that took that playbook, and you could feel the changes. It just felt like the play calls were more intelligent. They made more sense. They helped the offensive line and the talent we have on this team, play to their abilities. And I think it matters a ton that some people know a lot of plays, and they're good plays, but they don't know when to call them. And it really felt like in this game, for a guy that's never really done it before and was having a hard time figuring out the equipment, he just felt like he had a knack for calling the plays, again, against an elite defense, but calling the plays at the right time, and his players executed.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I think he did when he took over is he explained the why to the players.
Yeah.
And that built confidence. That built trust. Every single thing we did, he told those guys why we're going to do it and what situations we're going to do it and what to expect Penn State to do, and this is how we're going to counter it. Like, he gave them the answers to the tests before the tests. And that's why you saw the guys playing so freely. And then I also think he did a great job of getting the ball to the playmakers. I mean, get your best guys have to touch it, and whether that's throwing or running. And he did a great, phenomenal job with that without making it complicated. It was really simple, but it seemed like a lot was happening. And that was great, and that was awesome. And I also think he's a natural play caller. He's a coach's kid and those types of things, great bloodlines. But he has a knack for football. He's coached multiple positions on the offensive side, so he has a very, very good feel for how the flow of the game is going. And that's you have to have that knack. You have to have a little natural to you to do that.
And just a quick follow-up, Nick, because I want to stay on this for a second, because I think all this matters, Coach. I know we're talking about the past, but all this stuff matters going forward, because we're going to keep building on this. And in the offense, the way the run game worked, the offensive line played well, the receivers all got involved. I actually think Nico's going to become more dangerous as a runner when he could be a runner when the play breaks down. I know he's good at the guy runs like a running back, a guy that tall, he gets good pad level. He has a way, you can run that quarterback power all you want. I get that. I love it. But he's also able to get those big runs off scrambles, which is what the dual threat quarterback's supposed to be able to do. He can throw it around, but now you got to pay attention to him because he can take off and beat you with his legs.
Yeah, the fact that he can run and beat you, now we're going to get different coverages. And now they're going to have to start loading the box a little bit more. Even on our third and longs, they're going to still have to account for him. And that's what I'm really excited for, is to see how we can open things up when they have a lot of people accounting for Nico. Now we're getting the one-on-ones, and we're going to have to win those one-on-one challenges. That's going to be the biggest thing. But I expect teams to start spying him and doing all that sort of stuff and getting creative. And as they get creative, the more creative we'll get too. So that's going to be the beauty of football, seeing everything evolving and seeing how teams are attacking us and then seeing how we adjust to that and attack them. That's the beauty of football right there.
Yeah.
I was curious because Jerry was admitting to some of the headset things he was working through and learning. So did that mean Nico had to call plays a couple of times out there?
Man, I think a couple of times he heard half of the call. So he had to fill in the blanks with the other side of it. So it happened a couple of times. Hopefully technology will be on our side this next week, and everybody's more familiar with everything.
Well, it helps you got a guy like him at quarterback. I'm sure you have some confidence with him back there that if things do go awry with the tech, that he can help see you guys through it.
Definitely, and we have some signal stuff now, too, just in case to help us get through all those kind of situations.
Coach, one more coaching point. and I talked to Jerry about it after the game, and I mentioned Noel Mazzoni, who I'd been around when he was here the last time.
Mm-hmm.
I was joking that I was having conversations with his son about Eula. He was like, well, my dad just wants to help. And I literally said, well, Coach Skipper left his analyst job, so maybe he should just reach out. I honestly had no clue. So then in the next week, here comes Jerry, and it just made perfect sense.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Coach Coyle being one of your coaches.
Exactly right.
And by the way, and maybe add to it what UCLA being willing to bring in people and trying to still, not just giving up on the season.
Absolutely.
I think that's really cool too, but just talk about that as well.
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, when I took over, they were like, hey, look, if you need anything, let us know. Tell us, and we'll see what we can do to help. And sometimes you hear that as lip service. They're not really going to help me, whatever. So when things start coming up, every time I've asked for something, they've been able to figure it out and help out. So that's been awesome. Leadership team's been on our side the whole time, and I'm very grateful to have the people that we have in place there. Jerry, he was all the way. I want Noel, like that's his guy, and he was available and he wanted to do it, which is huge too. I wanted the want to, and he definitely had the want to. All the experience. I mean, we could talk on and on and on about his experience and things that he's done and accomplishments and things like that. And as soon as I see all that, I was like, look, let's sign him up as fast as we possibly can. And he was here the next day. Like, as soon as I told him, hey, I got a spot for you, he was here the next day. He drove over from Phoenix, and he's thrown right in the room, and he just went straight to work. I mean, it was crazy. And he's on the sideline with a headset, still trying to figure out exactly what the calls are, the names of the players, and all that good stuff. But he figured it out, had a lot of energy and passion. He was serious in that game. He was all in it. You would have thought he was here from the beginning, and it was just great to see.
Oh, excited to see you how a full week of everyone together bears out here.
Yeah.
He's Tim Skipper joining us on the Bruin Insider Show. Nick Koop and Wayne Cook. Bruins are on the road this week. They're going to take on Michigan State in East Lansing. It's an early 9 o'clock Pacific time kick. Pre-game coverage gets underway at 7:30 here on 790 KABC. So let's go there, Coach. I'm sure the message is, all right, Saturday, Penn State, that's all in the past. This is a brand new game, whole new opponent we're going up against. What's the message been to the team coming off that great first win?
Yeah, so yesterday, it seems like it was a long time ago. Sunday, we watched the Penn State game. We did corrections and enjoyed a lot of the great plays that happened in all three phases. And then once we finished all those meetings, now we transition into Michigan State. And the big thing is don't be a one-hit wonder. And that's not just on Saturday. That's at practice. That's in the locker room. That's in the walkthroughs. You have to keep your focus dialed in, and if you can rise it, that's what we want to do too. So everything is focused on us, not taking for granted all the hard work we've done and now thinking we've arrived or something like that. So we are full speed ahead. We'll start up tomorrow, and tomorrow and Wednesday will be very hard practices, full pads. We're going to get after it. We're going to go to work. You wouldn't know anything happened last week, and we're just going to get better. And then once we get to Saturday, once we get out there to Michigan, we'll have another practice Friday. And then when Saturday hits, we got to be 100% ready to go, full speed ahead, execution, energy, starting fast, limiting penalties, playing good Bruin football. That has to happen.
Coach, I spent a little bit of time yesterday watching the Michigan State-Nebraska game. Closer game than the end score was. Mm-hmm. But they've got some talent. They're well coached. They made quite a few mistakes in that game, actually, that cost them. There was turnovers on both sides, actually. But as far as, looking at this conference going forward, starting with Michigan State, there are a bunch of teams that are still on our schedule, Maryland, Nebraska, that may not be looked at like they're Ohio State, but Penn State was supposed to be right below them, but there's a whole bunch of teams that I have a feeling these games can go either direction. So keeping these guys locked in, and like you said, knowing that even in this game as well as we played, it's still game down to a defensive stop at the very end. Mm-hmm. And some really great play calling, by the way. The safety thing, I was like going, what? And then I started thinking about it, and I went, oh, my God, that was really smart. And I like to think I'm smart sometimes, but I wasn't 100% sure at the time. But then I started watching the clock, and I'm like, wow, that was a really good decision. Yeah. But those things matter, and they're going to matter going forward because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more tight games.
It's going to take everybody to win games. I mean, this is too competitive of a conference. That's the coaches being on point, and that's the players being on point. We're going to have to work together. And football is a game of situations, so things are going to come at you. And sometimes you have split seconds to think about what you need to do. I actually was thinking about taking that safety when it was first down. I was already on it because they had all 3 timeouts. I needed them to burn the timeouts. Then I knew now there's 2 important things, the time on the clock and where's the ball, the field position. And we needed to burn as much time, and we needed to flip the field. So we went with the safety, and most teams in that situation are going to hold you up. So because they have the field position advantage. So they're going to hold you up and then get as many yards on the return as they can. So they're holding up, and usually they have a spy guy to the field. So we let them hold us up. They were thinking they were holding us up, and we're just blocking them. And the punter was critical. The punter didn't go to the field because the spy guy was to the field. If he ran to the field, he would have made him go out of bounds a lot sooner. So he went to the boundary. They didn't realize he was even in the boundary. They think he's already punted it. By the time they realized it, we've gotten 8 seconds already off the clock. So it went from 25 to 17. And then the kickoff is another big important part of it. Now we're kicking off a tee. It's not a punt. So punt, you're like netting 45 yards. The kickoff went 73 yards. Went 73 yards on the kick. Great job by my team. Then we tackled them down there, and now we flipped the field and took time off the clock. And they returned the kick, so that's more time off the clock. So it worked out perfectly. I don't remember anything else you had said there if I was supposed to answer.
No, that was, Coach, that was my favorite part of the entire interview, because what's so amazing is that you were thinking about it, because I teach middle school kids. And when we're doing the George Washington stuff during the American Revolution, I always talk about it. He was always 3 steps ahead. He was always 3 steps ahead. I go, everybody else is thinking about right now. The good ones, the good leaders are 3 steps ahead. And Coach, it sounds like you were 3 downs ahead thinking about this. And it was a brilliant call. It was one of the big moments in this game.
Definitely. When I saw or remembered whatever, they had 3 timeouts, I knew we were going to have to do something on 4th down. And that's where my mind was going.
It's awesome.
It's got to be so gratifying as a coach when you've got a plan, and not just that sequence, but the game as a whole. You know, you wanted to run the ball. You wanted to control time of possession. You had a 2-to-1 advantage there. It's got to be so gratifying when everything just comes together like it did.
Man, it's awesome. It's awesome. And that's how football is. You could do everything right, and you're still in a dogfight. So that the start and the finish are so critical, because you can do it all right in the beginning and screw it up at the end, and vice versa, and then you feel sick. And that's kind of how I felt in the Northwestern game, to be honest with you. So it was just a great feeling to get in the car and know that everything worked and we came out victorious. I mean, that feeling is awesome. There's nothing better than that.
Well, Coach, I lived it with you. I'm not going to lie. At the very end of the game, I was normally near the end zone. I went and stood behind the bench, and because like peeking up at the jump, I was like nervous. When you're not playing and you're just watching, there's only so much you can do. It's crazy. Coach, I got to ask one more. This is the last one for me, Nick. As far as like you mentioned how aggressive practices are going to be, I'm just curious if you could give us a couple of examples of changes in what you're doing as far as with hitting, tackling, you know, the way that maybe some of the changes that have happened under your watch. And then the last thing, travel, as far as like leaving on a Thursday, and if anything's changed as far as that goes in getting ready for these games.
Yeah, so first thing, we start practice, we do walkthroughs, and then we get in the stretch, and we do a little juice period with over bags that gets energy and gets the blood flowing. As soon as that's over, we go straight to good on good. So it's the number 1 offense against the number 1 defense. Yes. Call whatever you want. We're going to get after it. And we thud. We don't go live straight to the ground, but it's thud. It's physical contact. And you have to run your feet on contact, and the guys running the ball got to run through the contact, all that stuff. So we'll go 5 plays with the 1s against 1s. We'll go 5 2s on 2s. As soon as that's over, we go to the individual. That's high up-tempo fundamental stuff, you know, like it might be a tackling circuit or ball security circuit, things like of that nature, and we'll do that. Then once that's over, we're going to go compete time. So we're going to go perimeter drill. That's our shell of the defense, like on a 7-on-7, the shell of the defense against the offense, 1s-on-1s, and now it's perimeter play, screens and bubbles and all that stuff where guys got to get blocked, and then there's a ball carrier and you got to go thud him up. So that's how we get started with that. Then we go on the one-on-ones. So it's running backs against linebackers, receivers against DBs, O-line versus D-line. The O-line, D-line is doing pass rush stuff. Linebackers, running backs go half of the time pass rushing, half of the time coverages. And the receivers and DBs, they do all the way one-on-one routes. So we're competing that whole entire period. And then once we get done that, then we get into our scout period stuff, which is more focused towards the opponent, which in this case will be Michigan State. And when we're running those plays on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, everything is stud also there. So it's a competitive, physical day.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it's just I know I ask long-winded questions.
What was that? Yeah.
Just the travel stuff. Because hey, we've heard it a million times, and it's no excuse. People are getting like, oh, they're like NFL players, and I'm like, oh, well, it's still a little bit harder than it looks. Traveling across the country and going long distances, whether you're going east or west, people think it's easier going one way than the other. But it is challenging. And how are you guys dealing with that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we're going to practice here Thursday, and then we're going to fly out. And once we get there, we're on their time. So this is a 12 o'clock game. Yeah. It's not, the game's at 12, but it's 9 at home, or pregame meals at 9, and then at home it's 6. We don't talk like that. The time is where we're at, and it's a 12 o'clock game, and we're going to play it like it's a 12 o'clock game. The last game was a 12:30 game. This one's 30 minutes before that. That's how we're going to see it and do it.
Very good. I'd be remiss before we let you go just to get your take on Michigan State and what you've seen. Looks like this offense can put up some points defensively. They were getting after the quarterback last weekend against Nebraska. What are you seeing on film?
Yeah, they're a very well-coached team. They're one of the least penalized teams in the country. They don't have a lot of penalties, so they're going to make you have to beat them. We're going to need to play smart in that area. On offense, they're a lot of 11 and 12 personnel. They're going to give us some old-school stuff, and by that, they're going to go under center and have 2 backs. That's like when I was playing. So we're going to have to defend that, and we haven't had to do that much all year. So you don't see that a lot this day and age. So we're going to have to defend a lot of formations and be smart and make sure we have guys that can stop their run game. They're not going to go tempo. They're going to take their time. They like to see what the defense is doing, check the plays and things like that. So we're going to have to definitely be smart on the defense end. Then our offense against their defense, it's going to be a major challenge. They're a 4-down operation. They're going to play man. They're going to play cover 4. And then they're going to, on third downs, that's when they get a little exotic. So we're going to have to handle their pressure stuff. They'll bring 5 guys. They'll bring 6 guys. We're going to have to win on third downs. It's going to be competitive third downs. And then I'm sure they're going to tweak up some things and have eyes on Nico for most of the game. So we're going to have to see what that is and adjust to that. So it's going to be a major challenge. I think our special teams, like always, it needs to be the point of difference. And we have to find ways to change the game in the special teams unit.
Well, we are looking forward to that. Know you guys got a lot of straining to do to get ready for the game, and really appreciate your time and your insights. Great to catch up with you as always, Coach.
Definitely appreciate you guys. Always love being here with you guys.
Thanks, Coach.